Okay, Tracy. Again, a good approach coming towards your center with showing no resistance. Starts the turnaround good, gets a little out with the nose, loses cadence, and you overspin a little bit. I'm gonna pause this right here and talk about this. But one thing I like to do is drive my horse in a circle at the walk with two hands and push them in that bridle with my legs and walk a circle in about a 10 feet circumference, and then begin my turnaround and balance their face a little bit. This should help keep your horse collected during that turn, and then I'll do this a couple times, and then I'll test it one-handed in your preparation and training at home. And then before the show, make sure it's working. And if you feel that horse start to nose out a little bit in that turnaround, you want to get him off your hands just a little, maybe two hands, and just back and forth, kind of work that chin in a little bit along with the body in the turn where the horse, and then when the horse is in a good position, release and let him turn freely. But you kind of have to train this way to try to keep some collection in that turn, which will help keep the cadence. He's kind of pushing out in the face, it's going through his body, and then his feet get a little bit in front of him, his front feet, and then he loses cadence and starts to hop a little bit. And then when a horse starts that, it's harder to shut him down, and that's probably why you receive the half-point penalty. If a horse is holding cadence, it's much easier to shut him down straight. Okay, so some of these things will help you there, but then, and when you're showing, you want to look maybe a little more ahead and get that horse shut down correctly. It's really important if I feel like a horse is going to lose cadence a little bit after I'm in the show pen, I try to feel that coming and not show harder than the horse I have at the time. In other words, keep your cadence, keep it correct first, and then shut your spin down correctly straight and not receive that half-point penalty. Okay, let's look at the other side. Here the horse gets started pretty good, and then about the third revolution loses some cadence again. You get shut down good, but it's hard to earn credit when those horses lose cadence like that. I'll pause it here a second. Again, that's the same exercise will help both sides of the turns, and I'll also trot some circles and push them in that bridle and make sure I can keep the body straight, push them in there, and then turn, kind of turn them loose, but be close enough two-handed where if that chin starts to go out and they lose some collection, some body roundness, then I can bring them back to me a little bit and then release. And then I always test my work, like I said, one-handed to see if my training's working. But there you were good shutting down. You were a little more ready. I think you knew you received that half-point penalty. You knew you overspun a little bit the first way, so you were a little more ready that way. Okay, let's look at this set of circles. It's good you were safe getting your horse moved over. You don't want to do that too much. The less we can show to the judge, if we can just walk a step and lope off, it looks a little better, but that's still acceptable with no resistance. Good job. Here the horse is guiding really good. I like this side. I thought this could certainly be a credit earning set of circles. Good slow down. If a horse, that was borderline. I mean, I like to see them really come back. That was probably as good as you could come back with the speed you were going. But if a horse don't come back enough at home, I just draw them in the ground soft and sit there till I get the desired comeback that I'm looking for. Again, your horse is guiding really good, holding good position. You're right in the center of pen, good pattern placement, good lead change. I'll pause it right here. Where you lost your guide a little bit over there, I think, your horse was steering really good. You might have been just a little bit late finding your center, and then you redirected. That's where we always want to be, looking ahead when we get to that 3/4 mark of the circle, finding center and making sure we're on the roundness of the circle where it's nice and smooth. But still a credit earning set of maneuvers. Here your lead change was good. You were right in the center. You got your horse straight. Nice job. And then we're beginning your left set of circles. Again, your horse was losing position a little bit. And I think this was has to do with more in preparation than showing. I think, sometimes if we get in this situation and we're already in the show pen and we didn't get our homework done just right, then sometimes I will shorten that inside rein a little bit where I can keep that horse in a position where you can still keep that set of circles smooth. And sometimes you can hide some of that from the judge if you're in that situation, because if you just use your outside rein and a horse is looking out, you'll get some resistance there. Your lead change is good. I'll pause it here a second and we'll talk about some preparation that'll maybe help you. One thing I'll do at home, I'll hold my hands close together, ride with two hands, hold them close together where that horse thinks he's being ridden one-handed. If we always, when we ride two-handed, if we are shorter reined with our hands apart, the horse learns that pretty quick. He says, well, I got to be here. He's got me two-handed. So I'll ride again on a loose rein with my hands close together. And if that horse starts to look out just an inch, just even think about looking that way, I'll just tip his nose in and release until I can keep him in a better position like your horse is on the right side. And then in other words, if I just feel it coming, I'll tip that nose in and release until he learns to stay there in position on a loose rein. Anything we do on a horse, we have to let them make the mistake and fix them. And the other thing I'll do, if they're dropping the shoulder at the same time they're looking out, then I'll lift that inside rein up, again, from a position of my hands being close together on a loose rein. I'll lift that inside rein almost straight up with kind of a straight left arm and hold my right rein low to round that horse up and get him in position. And when he gets where I want him to be, then I release slow so they don't just fly back out there in the wrong position. If they begin to lose that position again, I stand them back up and release slow and keep practicing this until eventually I want to be able to fix them one-handed. Then, these exercises will help you get to where you can do that circle one-handed. And if they start to lose position, you ride with your left hand, so I just pick my left hand up and they'll get in position. And they'll get to where when they just feel our hand coming a little bit, they'll reposition themselves. They learn to hold that position. But again, we have to let them make the mistake to teach them to be there. And those exercises will really help this horse on that left side in that set of circles at home and preparation before you show. Okay. I really liked how your horse went around the ends with no resistance. You showed really well. You're looking there to find out where you'll be. You're going right down the center of that side of the arena. In other words, from the middle to the wall, you're in the center. A good approach. good stop, and here just some resistance in that rollback. You know, your stop's really good. The horse held the ground, you got him there good, really nice. One thing I'll do, again, I think this would really clean this rollback up. I would take two hands again, make sure you're on a loose enough rein to where the horse thinks you're one-handed. Lay your outside rein, and then when you feel that horse start to look out, just kind of take that nose and let him follow his nose through that rollback with the inside rein. First, you want to be sure you ass with the outside rein. This exercise will not work if we only use the inside rein, because as soon as they feel the outside, then they'll look that direction. So we have to ask with the outside. Then as soon as, again, as we begin that rollback, if they start to look out, then pull the inside and get them to follow that nose through that rollback. And I think just a couple times of this will clean that up. And make sure, you know, in the rollback we train our horses. I like to first for them to follow my leg a little. I'll take my leg back in the direction I want to go. In other words, if I'm rolling back to the left, I take my left leg back towards the flank a little bit. Then I follow with my hand, and I try not to drag them through where I get that resistance. I like to lay that rein there, cluck, and halfway through that rollback, which would be a quarter turn, push my leg and push them out of there. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Again, a nice lope down, which is part of this next maneuver. Good around the end. Really nice, no resistance. A good approach, nice and straight. Good stop. Horse started to go off to the left a little and corrected himself. I think this could be a credit earning maneuver, but the rollback could have been a little better. And one thing that'll help us too, get stopped and then make that rollback deliberate with our body. You know, we want to ask, then make sure everything's working. Make sure we're ready to roll back, use our leg halfway through that rollback and push them all the way out of there with a 180 turn. Again, the exercise we talked about will help using two hands. Ask with the outside rein lightly, and then when they don't follow through with their nose, take that inside, give them to follow through all the way through there. And if a horse, you know, if they're leaving early, sometimes in our preparation we can just take them down and stop at the end of the arena. This is like, you know, within the 30-minute range of when we go in the arena to show, and ask kind of for the rollback, but just turn them right on around. This will keep them going all the way around, and if they look out, then we can take that inside rein and tip their nose in a little bit. And a lot of times this is all it takes to clean that rollback up, where they'll get all the way around and out. Nice. Again, loping very willingly around the down and around the end. Again, we have to remember that's part of the maneuver. Sometimes we have to school them in our paid warm-ups for this. A good approach, really nice stop. Good back up. And I think this was a credit earning maneuver. You could have backed up a few more steps there. You know, you could have just showed he's willing to back up, get him back just a few more steps, even though you did do what the rule book calls for, which is 10 feet, at least 10 feet, but show that judge we have a good backup. You know, sometimes we have to teach them to hustle a little bit at home or before we go in, and I'll just ask lightly with the reins, and if I'm not getting what I need off my legs, then I'll pull one rein and release, and then the other one, and then hustle them with my legs. I usually go about the girth area and I might bump one side of my calves against that side of the body and then the other calf. In other words, back and forth until they'll get back off my legs and hustle. And then I like to put my hand down on the mane when I finish backing up, and that shows them to keep backing until I give them that cue. I used to just back them up and kind of just quit with my body. Well, they might feel us kind of quit with our body, or we might quit riding aggressively in the backup, and they feel that and then they hesitate. So I think if we put our hand on their neck each time we finish backing up, then they wait for that and they'll keep backing at a good pace until we tell them, hey, we're done. But good job, Tracy. I hope this helps you.